Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you tonight is yet another invisible mass shooting. 21 people. You haven't heard a peep about it. I wonder why. If you are familiar with this channel, you know that we cover invisible mass shootings for a very specific reason. We wish that they didn't exist, but for some reason you aren't going to hear a peep. There's going to be a media blackout on them, except when everything matches the criteria that they want for their gun control desires. And if it doesn't, it cannot be known. It's a hypocrisy, which is why we cover it. Everything will be linked in the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you send this one out. Share this with everyone you know so they know the hypocrisy of the gun controlling left. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. And guys, this content is made possible by a sponsor called TacPack. All right? TacPack is something that every one of you is going to at least pique your interest in. This is a subscription level box that is specifically catered to an AR-15 aficionado, if you will. Professionally curated. They start at 60 bucks, they go all the way to 140. Today, if you use the code Langley, which is right down there in the description box below, you get an entirely different box in addition to your sign up. This is something you might want to check out. For example, Kung Fu grips. That was one of the things that came in mind. A Mantis training system. A micro light. Guys, this is something for everybody. There's a link right down there, and don't forget to use code Langley, and thank you to them for making this content possible. All right, so now, let me get over to the invisible mass shooting, because this stuff makes me a little bit cranky. And as we get into this, again, understand, I don't want any of this to happen. I don't want this type of criminality to exist. But I do have to point out, and this is the point of the Invisible Mass Shooting series, why the media is mums the word on this. For example, look at that headline. Does that seem like something that they would ignore on a gun controlling left or on the media? Like, for example, this happened last night. It's Sunday. That happened on Saturday night. Have you heard about this? 4 dead and 17 injured as gunfire erupts at a popular nightlife area in Birmingham? That kind of checks the boxes of mass shooting everywhere, wall to wall, take the guns away, doesn't it? Yeah, you'd think, but as always, with the gun controlling left, and this is what makes me really mad about it, is the complete hypocrisy. You got to look at the details, because if the details don't work out for them, they aren't going to say a word, which implies they don't truly care about the people being harmed. They care about the gun control narrative. I'm just going to say it. Let me hear you like it, share it if you believe it as well. 4 people were killed and 17 others were injured when multiple shooters opened fire Saturday evening in a bustling entertainment district in Birmingham, Alabama, in what police now believe was a targeted hit. Maybe that has something to do with it. You have not heard anything. In fact, let's jump over right now. And again, guys, the whole point of the Invisible Mass Shooting series is to highlight the hypocrisy. This is gun news. If you search generic gun news right now, there is nothing about a mass shooting. There's some Republican under Jim Comer. There's some Kamala Harris. There's Trump assassin. There's DA touts blah, blah, blah. Florida, deputy, Florida, nothing. Guys, if you go to the more news piece here, still nothing. Now contrast that to what we are used to seeing whenever there's a horrible tragedy. It's wall to wall. It's everywhere. Twitter's a flood with calling us all the names that you possibly could imagine. All the expletives. Get rid of the guns. It's the effing guns. But for some reason, right now, it's not the effing guns. Let's continue. Maybe it's something to do with a hit or multiple people. Just after 11 p.m., multiple people drove up to the 5 Points South area, been there by the way, exited their vehicle and began shooting. Then returned to their vehicle and drove away. Wait a minute. A targeted hit, multiple rounds fired, multiple assailants, gets back in their car and speed away. I wonder if that has anything to do with the idea of they're not covering it. Again, 21 casualties. Boop. Doesn't exist. Police believe the shooters were carrying out a hit on one individual who is among the deceased, and other victims were caught in the crossfire. That sounds a lot like a gang hit, doesn't it? So again, you've got gang or organized criminal activity, let's just say that and be generous. 21 casualties, multiple assailants, get back in their car and drive away in a targeted hit. These are the people who count this as a mass shooting and being all the gun's fault. All right, let's keep going. Again, I don't like that these things happen, but it does make you question why the media is just completely silent on this. You haven't heard a peep of this. If you have, let me know. But if you haven't, let me know as well. It's possible that illegal gun conversion devices, sometimes referred to as switches, were used in the shooting, Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin said. These devices can be used to override the trigger mechanism on a gun so it functions as a machine gun. Wow. So now we have multiple assailants with Glock switches, which are an NFA violation. Yeah, you wonder why they're not covering this? And this speaks to the entire point, guys. They aren't covering this because it conflicts with their narrative that it's the gun's fault, it's not the criminal. Multiple assailants drive up with a targeted hit with Glock switches, fire indiscriminately into a crowd, hit 21 people, 4 of which die, and you don't hear a word about it. These are the exact same people who will consistently go forward and say every single life matters. That's why we have to talk about every single one of these. You haven't heard about this. Okay, let's continue. Maybe we've got some more. Oh, look, Gun Violence Archive pops up. The incident is among 404 mass shootings in the United States so far this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. The reason I highlight that is because it points out what they count as mass shootings. This is organized gang criminal behavior. It is a targeted hit with NFA violative items against an individual target, indiscriminately hitting 21 people and then driving away with no leads from the police. And that's what they're counting as a mass shooting and a reason to take your gun rights away. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. And the media is doing its part and not saying a word. Let me jump you over to some gun control activists to kind of just prove this point. Here's what Gifford said about it. Last night, 4 people were killed and 18 were wounded when multiple gunmen opened fire on a popular nightlife area in Birmingham. Americans shouldn't have to risk their lives to enjoy a night out. It's infuriating that this keeps happening. But then they don't really say anything else. They just link the same article that I just showed you. Kind of a half answer, kind of a half butt answer, right? What about Fred Gutenberg? He's a gun controller. Same thing. It happened, continues to work. I'll be voting this election to continue this office for gun violence prevention. Guys, they aren't even saying anything about this shooting because it's an invisible mass shooting because it doesn't fit their narrative, because it's a targeted gang hit. I don't think I have anything else highlighted on here. No, I don't. The entire point of me doing these is I want to show you what they do to us on a daily basis. We've covered multiple invisible mass shootings. I'm about to make a playlist of all of them because there are so many that they are not covering because they don't fit the narrative, which conflicts with the whole I care about every single bit about gun violence narrative pitch that they throw. No, they only care about the ones that they can use to get political favor. And I'll say it right to their faces, and I'll tell you right here. Because the fact that these things that continue to happen and no one says a peep about them, but they do wall-to-wall coverage when it fits a certain narrative, shows how shows their indifference of the actual suffering going on. You want to solve the problem, focus on the criminals, not the guns. That's all I'm saying. Everything will be linked. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.